Hello everyone. Today I want to take you somewhere uncomfortable, not physically, but mentally. Because the truth is, the walls of your comfort zone look safe. They feel warm. They even whisper to you that you're doing fine. But in reality, they are not protecting you. They are limiting you. And in the next 56 seconds, I want to challenge you to do something that most people spend a lifetime avoiding. Destroy your comfort zone before it destroys your potential. Comfort zones feel safe, but they silently kill growth, potential, and opportunity. When you are inside your comfort zone, everything feels predictable, controlled, and familiar. You know the outcome before you take the step, so you take the step without resistance. But here's the reality most people never confront. Predictability is not progress. Safety is not success. Familiarity is not fulfillment. Every dream, every achievement, every breakthrough you have ever admired in someone else's life came from them stepping out into the unknown. Comfort zones disguise themselves as friends, whispering to you that you're doing fine where you are, but in truth, they are enemies disguised as allies. They hold you in place, they chain your potential, and they numb the hunger inside you that once wanted more. Think about how human beings grow. As children, we stumble before we walk. We fall before we run. We make mistakes before we learn. Growth has always been tied to discomfort. But as adults, we forget this truth. We start chasing convenience and comfort like they're the ultimate goals. We buy gadgets to make life easier. We choose routines that don't challenge us, and we surround ourselves with people who don't question us. Slowly, without even realizing it, we start living inside a bubble. That bubble becomes our comfort zone, and the longer we stay there, the weaker we become. Muscles don't grow in rest, they grow under tension. Minds don't expand in certainty, they expand in challenge. Souls don't ignite in routine, they ignite in risk. When you live inside your comfort zone, opportunities pass you by without you even noticing. The promotion you wanted but didn't ask for, the conversation you could have started but stayed silent, the business idea you dreamed of but never launched, the relationship you wanted to build but never approached. All of them drift away because you chose comfort over courage. Opportunity rarely knocks on the door of comfort. It waits just outside of it. And the ones who step out, even trembling, even unprepared, are the ones who discover what the rest of the world calls luck. It is not luck. It is the reward of discomfort. The reward of stepping where fear told you not to. Your potential is far bigger than you realize, but you'll never see it if you keep protecting yourself from discomfort. The greatest tragedy is not that people fail. It is that people never even try because comfort convinces them that trying is too risky. They trade the pain of temporary failure for the lifelong ache of what could have been. Potential is not unlocked by staying where you are. It's unlocked by stepping into what you don't know. Every skill you admire in someone else, every success you look at and say, I wish I could do that, was once uncomfortable for them too. They started with fear. They started with doubt. They started with trembling hands and uncertain steps. The difference is they didn't let comfort hold them back. Comfort kills growth because it tricks you into thinking you have more time. It whispers, do it tomorrow, you're fine today. But tomorrow never comes for the person who waits for perfect conditions. Growth only happens in the now, in the leap, in the risk. When you break through your comfort zone, even in small ways, you begin to build momentum. That momentum creates confidence, and confidence creates more action. Action destroys fear, and fear loses its grip. Soon you realize the walls of your comfort zone were never as solid as you believed. They were made of paper, and all it took was one decision to tear through them. Think of the moments in your life where you grew the most. Were they easy? Were they comfortable? Of course not. They were the moments where you had to stretch yourself, where you were unsure, where you were scared, where you were pushed. Maybe it was moving to a new city, taking a tough class, trying a new job, speaking in front of people for the first time. In those moments, you grew. You became more than you were, and if you trace back your life, you'll see that every leap forward was preceded by discomfort. This is not coincidence, it is the law of growth. Yet still, people resist it because comfort feels good in the short term, even though it robs them in the long term. Destroying your comfort zone doesn't mean you have to take reckless leaps. It means you must be willing to do what is uncomfortable daily. It could be waking up earlier than you want to. It could be starting the conversation you've been avoiding. It could be putting your ideas into the world, knowing some will criticize them. It could be going to the gym when you'd rather stay home. These small acts of discomfort compound into massive transformation. Each time you step out, you weaken the grip of comfort. Each time you resist the pull of the easy path, you strengthen the muscle of courage. Each time you do what others avoid, you build an identity of someone who doesn't settle. People often wonder why they feel stuck, why nothing changes, why they feel unfulfilled. The answer is almost always that they've been living too comfortably for too long. Growth requires friction, challenge, pressure. A diamond is formed under pressure, not in ease. A tree grows its roots deeper in the storm, not in sunshine alone. A person becomes resilient not by staying safe, but by walking through struggle. Comfort makes you soft. Discomfort makes you strong. And the world does not reward comfort. It rewards strength, courage, and resilience. If you want to unlock your full potential, you have to walk into the places where comfort tells you not to go. You cannot wait for motivation to carry you out of your comfort zone. Motivation fades. Discipline and courage are what pull you through. You have to choose to act even when you don't feel ready, even when you don't feel like it. Readiness is a myth. No one is ever fully ready for the leap. You prepare as much as you can, then you step. And in stepping, you learn. In leaping, you grow. Comfort waits for perfect timing. Discomfort acts now. That is the difference between the person who dreams and the person who achieves. One waits, one moves. One stays safe, one grows. One is trapped in potential, the other lives it. Most people will spend their lives in comfort zones, convincing themselves they're happy, convincing themselves they're safe. But deep down, they'll always know there was more. They'll always know they could have done more, achieved more, lived more, if only they had chosen discomfort when it mattered. Don't let that be your story. Don't let the walls of comfort keep you from the life you are capable of living. The time to act is not later, not when conditions are better, not when you feel ready. The time to act is now, because every second you spend inside comfort is a second of growth lost forever. The fastest way to transform your life is to take action before fear has a chance to stop you. Fear works like a thief in the dark. It doesn't take everything from you at once. It steals your courage piece by piece. The longer you wait, the louder it gets. The more you hesitate, the heavier it feels. But when you move quickly, when you act before fear builds its walls, you rob it of its power. Transformation is never about waiting for the perfect moment. It is about creating the moment by moving forward when everything inside you screams to stay still. Every great achiever you admire, every story of success you've heard, every life that inspires you is built on this truth. They acted while fear was still whispering. They didn't wait for silence. They didn't wait for the butterflies to disappear. They didn't wait for certainty. They moved anyway. And in the movement, they became unstoppable. Fear thrives in hesitation. It feeds on overthinking. The more you sit still, the more your mind builds scenarios of what could go wrong, who might judge you, how you might fail. That mental loop paralyzes you until you convince yourself that staying the same is safer than changing. But the problem is, staying the same is its own kind of failure. You don't notice it in a single day, but you feel it over months, years, decades. The quiet ache of unrealized potential, the frustration of knowing you wanted more but never reached for it. The only way to cut through that is action. Not thought, not waiting, not endless planning, action. Even messy, imperfect, uncertain action beats standing still because momentum creates clarity and clarity destroys fear. Think about how many times in your life you hesitated and let an opportunity pass you by. Maybe it was a chance to speak up in a meeting. Maybe it was a person you wanted to talk to. Maybe it was a risk you wanted to take. You told yourself you'd do it later. You told yourself you needed more time. You told yourself you weren't ready. But what really happened was fear won and you lost an opportunity that might never come back. Now think of the moments where you acted fast, where you didn't give yourself time to overthink. Maybe you raised your hand. Maybe you took the shot. Maybe you said yes before doubt had time to talk you out of it. Those moments, whether they ended in success or failure, shaped you. Even failure taught you something. Even mistakes moved you forward. But hesitation only ever leaves you stuck. Action before fear is about trusting movement more than thought. It's about realizing that you don't need to know the whole path before taking the first step. The first step reveals the second reveals the third, and with each step, you build courage. The more you move, the less power fear has. Imagine fear as a shadow. When you stand still, the shadow grows longer and darker. But when you move, the shadow shifts brakes and eventually disappears behind you. That is why speed matters. Not reckless speed, but decisive speed. The faster you choose action, the less fear can build its case against you. And once you've built the habit of acting quickly, fear loses its control forever. The truth is, transformation does not come from knowing more. It comes from doing more. You already know what you need to do. Most people don't lack knowledge, they lack execution. They read the books, listen to the podcasts, watch the videos, attend the seminars, and still nothing changes, because information without action changes nothing. You don't transform by learning about courage, you transform by taking courageous steps. You don't transform by studying opportunity, you transform by seizing it. You don't transform by thinking about change, you transform by moving before fear has a chance to lock you in place. Knowledge is potential power, but action is real power. Look at the lives of those who achieve greatness. They are not the ones who waited until they had everything figured out. They are the ones who took the leap before they felt ready. Entrepreneurs who started with little more than an idea. Leaders who spoke before they were confident. Creators who released work they thought wasn't perfect. Athletes who trained before they were strong enough. Their secret was not that they didn't feel fear. It was that they moved anyway. Fear never disappeared. It was defeated by momentum. That is how transformation happens. Not in the absence of fear, but in the decision to move faster than fear can stop you. The longer you wait to act, the heavier fear becomes. Procrastination is just fear disguised as strategy. You tell yourself you're waiting for better timing, more preparation, more certainty. But what you're really doing is giving fear more time to grow. Every day you delay, the mountain looks taller, the task looks harder, the risk looks scarier. But when you act immediately, you bypass the buildup. You cut off fear before it has time to multiply. It's like jumping into cold water. If you wait, if you dip your toe, if you think too much, it feels unbearable. But if you jump in, within seconds you adjust, and suddenly what felt impossible becomes manageable. That's life. Fear only feels big until you face it with quick action. Transformation is not about giant leaps all the time. Sometimes it's about small, fast actions that build unstoppable momentum. Sending the email you've been avoiding, making the phone call you're scared to make, taking 5 minutes to start the project instead of planning it endlessly, saying yes when every instinct says wait. Each small step chips away at fear. Each small step strengthens your belief that you can handle more than you thought. Over time, those small acts of courage compound into massive change. You look back months or years later and realize you're living a life that once felt out of reach, all because you acted before fear convinced you not to fear will never disappear completely. If you wait for that, you'll wait your whole life. The point is not to eliminate fear. The point is to move through it before it paralyzes you. Transformation belongs to the people who act while afraid, not to those who wait for courage to arrive. Courage is not something you get first. It is something you build through motion. Action is the seed. Courage is the fruit. The faster you plant, the faster you grow. The only question is whether you will let fear build walls around you or whether you will move before it has the chance. If you want to change your life, stop giving fear the time it needs to stop you. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for clarity. Stop waiting for the moment you feel ready. Move now. Speak now. Act now. Do the thing before your mind fills with reasons not to. Because the fastest way to transform your life is to take action before fear has a chance to stop you.